freaking bad. WrestleMania.
Welcome, everybody, to Juice Pro Wrestling, episode 107, Automatic Mojo! That's right, Automatic Mojo. Look it up. You'll be surprised. Sreten, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? Excited that I don't have to share you with anybody.
I know, right? I'm getting fucking tired of that shit.
Yeah.
You know?
All our guests are so needy.
I know. All they do is want.
Want.
Take.
Promote.
Give. Yeah, promote.
Yeah, I got a new line of socks. You better buy them.
Right? Man, what a fucking crazy week it's been, man. You celebrated a birthday, so thank you to everybody that was out there in the JP Woo wishing this arrogant bastard a happy birthday.
Yeah, it was nice. There could have been more of you, though.
Yeah, no, there always can be.
It was actually really nice. And I don't know how many people would actually wish me a happy birthday. It wasn't for three things. Stupid Facebook, my brother putting a post up, and then you putting a post up. Like, if it wasn't for the two of you guys, I doubt the 50 people that send me happy birthday wishes. Like, everybody's like, I guess I'll wish him a happy birthday. He's friends with Wallace and his brother's Boyan.
Yeah,
so,
I got
but
no
it was cool.
choice.
Dude, in these times, you never know how birthday is going to go. I was grateful. It was awesome. I got to chill. I got to eat cake and ice cream. I got to sit on my deck with a fire out and have a drink. It was cool. Go for a walk, a bike ride, all that shit. It was great. So
that's all you can ask for.
Here's to a good rest of 2020.
2020 is a shithole fucking year. Let me tell you. Speaking of that, this is breaking news, and by the time people listen to this or watch it on YouTube, former WWE superstar, I don't know if you've seen this, Shad Gaspard.
Yeah.
He's 39 years old. He took his 10-year-old son out on Venice Beach to go swimming. He's a former member of WWE, like I said, tag team Crime Time. Go figure that, WWE's got a couple of black guys. We don't know what to do with them. Let's put them in a tag team and call them Crime Time. Jesus!
Not the first time.
Right. Well, anyways, he took his son out and riptides or something, and lifeguards had to step in and try to save him. And he said, "No, hey, get my boy." And they got his boy. And as of right now, this recording, he's been missing. And they went to get Shad's ass, and he just another current came and fucking took him. And they've been looking, and I read that they had stopped and then they had resumed again. So, they're doing everything they can. So,
yeah, it sucks.
I hate to say condolences or be premature about anything, but it's really weird to think about, I mean, I'm not a praying man, so I can't say thoughts and prayers. We'll just go with thoughts with the family.
Why don't you just say Sreten's thoughts and prayers? I do pray. Yeah. So just do it on behalf of me.
That's why he prays. Pray.
Yeah. But it's super sad. Let's hope there's some sort of miracle. It's not looking good, but fuck.
No, I mean, where do you go in the fucking ocean, Care how big and how strong you are. That shit takes you.
They say you could be super strong, but you're not as strong as like the things living down there, but you're still not. Those currents are so strong and you get tired really fast. Like, unfortunately, you could be the strongest person in the world. You get tired super fast. So
not even that, dude. I mean, think of like the fucking sea life that is there. That shit always freaks. That's why I don't fucking step foot in the motherfucking ocean.
I don't even think the fish fuck around in those parts where there's a rip currents. They're like, I'm gonna stay out here, farther away where the water's cool. Not going over there where you can get thrown into some rocks and shit.
Right.
But yeah, maybe there might be some good news. But what else, buddy?
Here's the fucking hoping. Becky Lynch is pregnant. She announced her and Seth Rollins are pregnant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Breaks my heart.
I bet it does. Your dreams have been crushed.
Yep. I thought I had a chance.
You ain't got
what the fuck?
Congrats to them. I'm kind of glad it happened. I think Becky's character was getting a little stale. Kind of ran its course,
Yeah.
So, time for someone else to fucking take over.
You think it ran its course, or you think that it was slightly mishandled? Because I think
it's slightly mishandled.
I think that shit could have gone on and been the thing she was known for forever. I don't know her performing skills. I saw her a couple times. I thought she was good, but
Oh
yeah, I thought that I'm the man stuff was pretty awesome.
It's cool too because I mean, obviously she's going to come back once all this is said and done.
Right.
It'll be enough time away that it'll be fresh again. So it's very much, I think, needed because like I was one of the main supporters behind that whole shtick when she started doing that. I thought it was awesome, like the Lady Stone Cold or whatever. But it to me, like I said, it could have been bad booking, whatever it was. It got a little stale for me pretty quick. So.
And everything with 2020 and not even knowing how to do a show, it's pretty tough to keep any storylines going. But with that, other people have dropped off too. Yeah, congratulations to her and that other guy.
Yeah, here's to you.
Yeah, here's to you. Whatever.
Yeah. So there's something else I'd like to talk about because this week has been like a week of like documentary shit, documentaries beginning, documentaries ending, documentaries continuing. One of those was The Last Dance. 10 weeks now. They finally ended. Did you watch the last couple?
All I watched was the first two.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I plan on binging them. I wanted to wait and then actually get the full effect and just. I mean, I'm sure it's cool to do to watch it week to week, but I waited. I'm gonna watch the whole thing at once.
See, I've seen them all except for the last two, but I've caught enough of what happened as far as like clips and news tidbits here and there. It was really cool. Like I've said many a times before, wrestling is everywhere, and they talk about wrestling. They talk about Rodman's stint when he missed the finals playoff, or they were in the finals and he missed a practice for one of the finals games because he was hooking up with Hollywood Hogan in the NWO and WCW. He was up in Michigan fucking on Nitro and shit.
I didn't remember that it was at the same time. I knew he was in the NWO. I knew he had a run, but I didn't know it was during a championship run in the NBA that he was like, no, I'm going to be a little late to practice because I'm going to go wrestle.
Oh, yeah. It was crazy. I remember him and Malone kind of going at it a little on the court, and I'm like, I've seen some things with Eric Bischoff talking lately that he kind of enticed that a little bit. Like, hey, go ahead, guys, do a little extra to hype our match, or your guys' appearances. So I just thought that was really cool. It was really cool to see, wrestling Twitter and Twitter just in general, and the general populace that wasn't aware of Dennis Rodman even being involved in wrestling at all. And especially with a huge stable group like the NWO and Hulk Hogan, huge superstar. I mean, what a life Dennis Rodman has led. Madonna, Carmen Electra, Hulk Hogan, Michael Jordan, Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, and during a time when now we're in 2020 and pretty much whatever your personality is, however you want to dress, however you want to identify, like all these different things are pretty much accepted everywhere you go. Like you could identify as a fighter jet is what one of the jokes, or a helicopter, and people will be like, okay, helicopter, whatever. Anyways, I wonder if anybody's ever going to address, or if they addressed in that documentary. He was kind of important in the fact that he would dress flamboyantly. He was a straight man, but you never knew what the actual story was behind closed doors, what kind of shenanigans he got up to. And so a lot of people back then, he would wear wedding dresses and possibly cross-dress and wear stuff publicly and wear makeup. And, and he was one of the top stars in the NBA, and he was dating Madonna. So he became a pop culture icon of sorts, I guess.
Yeah.
But
oh yeah,
and that was like 25 years ago.
It was a very taboo time for that type of shit.
Yeah, and for him to still have, like, I wonder what sort of actual culture impact that he had. Like, he started, in a lot of respects, he started some of those things to be like, hey, we see it out of Rodman. We think he's a weirdo in 1995, 96, but now it's 2020 and things are just, the way that our society has progressed is crazy. And he's one of those, like, he was a trendsetter. Yeah, a pioneer. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so respect to him. I couldn't stand him back then. I think it was just because I thought he was ugly, and that's not fair.
Yeah, it's pretty harsh, man. It's 2020.
Yeah,
Get a fucking grip. But yeah, definitely a pioneer in a lot of
sure.
those areas. Like you said, his how would you say that word? Ambiguous. He was very ambiguous.
Yeah.
The tattoos, there ain't a motherfucker in the NBA or sports, let alone, that isn't covered head to toes in tattoo. And back in the day, that wasn't like you had
Nobody was all
Shaq
tatted up.
Yeah, Shaq had like one tattoo or
Yeah.
something. Rodman
Of like
had him everywhere.
Superman. Yeah.
Yeah, right. The S logo.
Yeah.
The hair dye, that just being yourself and making people question what is, just making people think.
Yeah. And never explaining yourself.
Yeah.
He never was like, I'm doing this as, for this or that. He was just like, think whatever you want. This is what I'm doing.
Yeah, he did what the fuck he wanted to do. And apparently at that time, he didn't want to go to fucking practice. He wanted to join the NWO. I loved it, dude. I couldn't get enough. It was so awesome, like I said, to see Twitter blowing up with all these pictures of and everybody was jumping on, of course, WWE, because they own the video rights now and shit. And like, oh, well, check out these gifs of Rodman and Hogan together. And it's like fucking party. And it just looked like such a cool-ass fucking time, man.
Probably
so
was.
Like it's kind of heartbreaking to see that that documentary end. That was god damn, that brought back a lot of good fucking memories, man. Especially in these times right now, we need all the good memories we can get. Because who knows what tomorrow may never come. Just to relive the Bulls championships, dude, and especially those last three in the mid to late 90s. With those cast of characters, and they were, with them being the rock stars they were, and hanging out with, wrestlers and models and you name it, dude. They were the fucking shit. And I think a lot of people, whether you're just as a fan, whether you were there like we were, as far as, Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland residents that lived through it, or anywhere in the country throughout the world, I think it really touched a lot of people, and you got to see a lot of different sides of stuff. And like you were saying with Dennis Rodman, they shined a little light on that. That he was kind of like that pioneer, as far as the lifestyle and trend. He was a trendsetter, like you said,
right? And a monster of a basketball player.
Monster, and that's the thing that I think. Back in the day, people always say he was good, but they didn't like what he did. And they thought it was, his off-course shenanigans. I get that, but it's good to see him getting recognized for the fucking great player that he is, and was nowadays, because it's amazing. And to have guys like Jordan solidify that, the greatest player of all time. Like, I think Dennis is probably one of the best basketball minds I've ever played with. That says a fucking lot, dude.
Yeah.
And to see, on the flip side of that coin, Michael, God, basically, Black Jesus, man, to see him humanized as much as he was in this documentary.
Yeah.
It's very cool, man. Very awesome, different side of Jordan that nobody in the world was fucking used to seeing except for his family.
I don't think we've had this amount. So now in the world of podcasts and extreme access to most celebrities, like, we have a crazy amount of access to people where there's a lot of podcasters that are famous or actors that got into it where if the person is like 100 episodes in to like a show, you've had 100 hours of that person's thoughts. You've never had. Michael Jordan was like one of the top celebrities and athletes back then, if not the top guy. He made Nike. Nike's one of the strongest companies on earth right now. But you never had this much. You never had 10 hours. It's what is it? 12 episodes?
10 episodes.
10, but it's probably something like 6 hours of solid footage of just him talking. His perspective on things, and you didn't get that. If you did get it, it was that like bullshit cookie cutter, bland, white toast kind of answers, like, I just want to play for my team and God. I just watched Bull Durham last night, so I got all these like cheesy quotes in my head. But yeah, it was that like everything he was supposed to say while being interviewed for like a playoff game or what. I think he did an interview with Oprah years ago where he talked a little more, but it was never not with this candidate. Have you ever heard Jordan say fuck? Well, you get to hear him say fuck in this.
Motherfuck, fuck, noise,
Yeah.
noise. Doing dunks. all that shit.
So,
When
so the
in rings,
access,
who's got the bling? He got the bling.
so it was awesome. Like to see that today. And like I said, I watched the first 2 episodes, and that's, I think I'm waiting because I don't want to watch it because I know it's going to have to end, and I'll be like, shit.
Dude, it's heartbreaking. Like I said, it sucks that it ends. I hope that they put this out like on some sort of box set DVD thing, because it's Blu-ray, whatever. It's something I definitely want to own. I could easily go back and watch like any time, just in reliving those fucking memories, man.
Oh, they totally will.
Oh, it's fucking great. But to kind of transition into that, to get into the wrestling side of things, documentary wise, WWE has something that they're doing that's much akin to The Last Dance, hashtag The Last Ride, featuring The Undertaker. And I just finished chapter 2, and it's a pretty cool documentary. And this is another, it's weird because I think, you know, this Bulls thing has been around for a long time. I mean, they were talking about putting this out a couple of years ago.
Right.
So I don't know, you know, if the stars just aligned. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, WWE had to, you know, piggyback off the popularity. I mean, I think it's just good timing. But The Undertaker, this goes back to like 2016, I think, WrestleMania, when he was, you know, he's one of those guys that he's such a legend, such an icon, but he's up there in age, you know, and he's had some matches where you can tell it's like, fuck, man, like you throw the damn towel,
Yeah.
or, you know, what do you do? And it's cool because he's one of those characters that you never really got much from either, like Michael Jordan. You know, even though he was in the public eye, his gimmick never really, he was always in gimmick. He never broke kayfabe. He was always the dead man. You know, he wasn't really cutting interviews, or, you know, you didn't see the behind the scenes shit with The Undertaker, or like his family life and stuff. So this is kind of really broke down the barriers with that. And, you know, it's a story about him, the struggle of like, I know I say every year, you know, could be the last one, but I mean, he loves fucking doing it, and he likes doing it for the company, the business as a whole, and Vince and himself. So it kind of takes you behind the scenes with his struggle with, you know, like, all right, I put on a stinker of a match at this WrestleMania. I need to go back and redeem myself. And that from what I've seen in the first 2 episodes, that's kind of what it is. And him kind of questioning if he can still do it and do it at a acceptable level, because he doesn't want to be one of those guys that's like, you know, a father and son tandem are sitting there like, you don't want the dad saying, oh, well, you should have seen this guy 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
You know, it was tearing it up. Like, he wants to be more than that. And that's tough, man. And you watch the shit that he goes through, and like the do 2 hip replacements and all this shit. And he's a big dude. And you know, you're a tall guy. I mean, you know, fucking the way when you're that big, the weight that's on your knees and shit and your legs, dude, and watching him move, and like, you could just tell the guy's in fucking pain.
Yeah.
But he's going through all this stuff and the emotions because it's something he's like passionate about, and he doesn't know what the fuck he's going to do other than enjoy family life, you know, or be Mark Calloway and not the fucking Undertaker, you know?
I think if this, so the world of kayfabe is like, it's different. It's been spun around on its head, but I still do think if this documentary came out, then he does need to retire. And if you would have seen him, like this year in WrestleMania was different because, you know, it was cut footage and it was different, so it was cool.
Right.
And then he didn't wrestle last year because I remember the old timers that wrestled. It was Batista and Triple H, and I thought it was a good match. Like I thought they had a great match for 2 guys. You know, are they both 50 or right there on the edge of 50?
Yeah.
I thought they had a fantastic match. Like they were very physical and beat the shit out of each other. And it was probably like 40 minutes long or something. The year before was the first WrestleMania I watched. This is 3 years ago. The first WrestleMania I watched in probably since I was a little kid. And Undertaker had a match, and it was so long, it was brutal. Like I was like, why is he still wrestling? I understand if he's in shape.
Was it him versus Roman Reigns?
I don't remember. I just remember it took forever, and he was like, I was like, is he hurt? There was a lot of him just sitting and resting. There was a lot of resting. There was a lot of inactivity with the crowd just like watching and not going nuts. There wasn't any like heat or pops or crowd buildup. It was just him, and it was like he had even a hard time like getting like sitting up. And I was like, I hope this is the last time, because if this is WWE product, this is brutal. Like that was brutal to watch. And I watched from that WrestleMania. I don't remember which matches I actually liked. I think Shane McMahon always actually has a really good match.
He delivers.
He really delivered. I remember that. But yeah, now when I see Undertaker, I know his history. He's a legend that is still wrestling. Like he's still wrestling all these guys that were his peers or that are like 5 years maybe older. Like he's not that much younger than Hulk Hogan. I don't think. I could be wrong. I think he's in between like The Rock and Hogan.
I think he's like mid-50s, I believe.
Mid-50s? Yeah.
I think so.
And for what he does, I mean, shit, we saw Jerry Lawler wrestle like back in August, but he knows his limitations. He talks more. Like Undertaker's a different dude. Like there's a lot of
he still wants to go at he wants to go at a certain level and do some of the same shit, and it's like that's why he's had all these surgeries and shit. And I think, who knows what the point of this documentary may be, whether it's a leading point into from what I understand, he's got like a 15-year contract with WWE now, whether that just entails merchandising or what, in ring, I don't know what that really means, 15 years. I mean, but the Undertaker would be damn near in his 70s by then, I thought the Boneyard match with AJ Styles this year at WrestleMania was really well done. If they want to use him in a capacity like that now, where it's kind of cinematic, I think his character is great for that. The Undertaker, even if, it was like the biker Undertaker, whatever, you could still use the dead man Undertaker in that sort of gimmick, and it would go over well, and it would be less wear and tear on him. And maybe like once in a blue moon, him actually having the physical in-ring, traditional style match.
Yeah.
But there's been a few stinkers, him and Kane versus DX when they were out in Saudi Arabia, it was a fucking stinker. Back out in Saudi again with Goldberg, fucking stinker. The Roman Reigns Mania match, it was a stinker, and that's what he says in these in this documentary. He's really hard on himself about that Roman match, about not being able to deliver. He was like, I was fucking out of shape, I was fat, it's really cool to kind of see that though from him, because he is such a locker room leader and an icon. But in a way, it kind of reminds me of back in the day, being a WCW fan, how, all fans, WWF fans would rip, well, it's just a bunch of fucking old guys and they're not letting people have their spot. And, I don't think that's necessarily like that with Taker, because he recognizes that, and he even says in the documentary, he's like, if I can't go at this certain level, you got to realize I'm taking a spot from somebody that is there all year that deserves it,
Yes.
So I need to bring it.
Yes. And in that context, I think he should retire and step aside for somebody else to shine. And if he could help them shine. Like, he's one of the legends. He's a badass. Given a certain type of match, I think he could still do well. But there's so many other awesome people that are part of WWE that if with the right storylines, they could tell some badass stories for the new generation. There's no 10-year-old that's going to give a shit about the Undertaker in 2020. Whatever form of Undertaker he is. Like, a 10-year-old's not going to be like that. Whereas, man, imagine if you were 10 back when the Undertaker was the Undertaker. Scary. There was nothing like that. That's why he's a legend. But at some point, everybody's got to step aside. It sucks, but at some point, everybody's got. And you could still be a legend. You could still, do shit. But yeah, at some point, you got to scoot over.
Did you just say you could still do shit?
Do shit. Yeah.
You gotta do shit.
Gotta do shit.
It's a good documentary though, so
I do want to check that out.
It's on the network. Everybody that's got the network, check it out. It's he said it's called Undertaker: The Last Ride. I don't know how many chapters or how long it's going to be, but they filmed a lot of this, throughout the last several years. So it's pretty cool.
And it'd be cool if it led to something where he just came out of nowhere and suddenly he's all jacked and on HGH and suddenly super mobile from like Colombian blood spitting therapies and comes back and just that would also be cool. I'm not gonna lie, that'd be awesome if he suddenly was like super athletic.
Jeez,
but
wishful thinking.
Yeah, wishful thinking.
Comes out looking like Sly.
Yeah, it worked for him. It works for me.
Right. Another thing that's not so much a documentary, MLW, and I just watched this. They put out a series called Anthology, which is on their YouTube channel, and the first one was about LA Park. They only had like 2 matches. One of them was, I think, against a luchador named the Shocker, which was a great match, and then the other was against Sabu, and it was a brutal ass match. And our homie Bill Alfonso got his ass handed to him in a backstage interview after the match.
Don't do that, baby.
Yeah, don't do that. Like, oh, Sabu gonna come. We're gonna get extreme. And next thing you know, Park just throw garbage cans at him. Fucking damn, Bill, you got destroyed, son. It's really cool. They kind of take a brief little history, of LA Park, who he is, where he gone, where he been, and they give you these awesome matches, which are probably and it's from, they have so much old school content. MLW's been around. They were started in the early 2000s before they kind of went on hiatus. So they've had a plethora of legendary talent come through there. Guys like CM Punk, Terry Funk's been there. A lot of the ECW crew. And it's the other bonus, you get to hear the original voice of MLW, which was the original voice of ECW, Joey Styles, a guy that I think I would love to fucking hear somewhere on a major fucking, promotion. And whether it's Impact, MLW, I don't know what the hell he's even doing anymore, but it's good to hear his voice. And it's awesome because he's just a one-man show. And
didn't they also remix his voice to make it sound cleaner, right? Is that what I heard? Did you notice
I don't know about
difference?
that. I thought it sounded great. I mean, it was good. It was a solid ass fucking, it's like an hour long, solid ass program. Hit up MLW YouTube, everybody out there watching and listening. It's fucking worth it. And the next one is going to be on Mance Warner. So that's your boy right there.
The Mancer.
Yeah, old Mancer.
Old Mancer.
Crack a couple of light beers for him. I got the Mountain Dew.
It's my real bad Mancer impression. All you sons of bitches want to take on the Mancer. Old Mancer will take on any takers. Fucking Undertakers.
Old Mancer bring you to the last. He'll be the last dancer. The last tiny dancer.
Last tiny dancer, Old Mancer.
So, remember Rory Gulick, the Creep?
Yeah.
Well, his brother, Drew Gulick, the not Creep, actually solid wrestler. That was in WWE he was doing some solid work. Good program with Daniel Bryan, who's a part of the Intercontinental title tournament. He lost, I think it was this past Friday. And then next thing you know, his contract runs up and WWE doesn't renew it. So he gone, which is good for him because I don't believe he has to wait 90 days. He can go fucking work anywhere he wants. And I've seen conflicting reports like he's not gone. Who fucking knows what's going to happen with him? But as of right now, from what I understand, Drew Gulak is a free man.
What do you think that means?
I don't know.
Speculate.
I think it means that they let him go, that they, it's just another part of this whole fucking COVID deal with WWE and them cutting as much as they can financially.
I want you to rampantly speculate about where he'll go, maybe what promotion he gets attached to, who he might have good matches with.
Impact. I think he'd be a good fit really anywhere, but I think Impact. Or we could see him in ROH, It's hard to tell, though. I mean, really, it's who's got TV product right now, there's not a lot of people doing a live TV product or even, MLW's shit. I don't know what they're going to end up doing going forward as long as all this shit's going on. I know they're getting towards the end of what they have taped.
Well, if the Dynasty ever wants to do, reoccurring segments on Juice Pro Wrestling podcast, the door's always open.
Saying, yeah. Man. Speaking of that, Richard Holiday just re-signed with MLW. So shout out to our boy. You can listen to him on episode 99.999999999.
Nice.
Yeah. Go back and check that shit out. Speaking of promotions that are actually running, this weekend AEW has a pay-per-view coming up.
Oh.
Double or Nothing 2020.
How's it gonna go?
How's it gonna be?
There's gonna be like the card, the fight card.
The buy-in. They're gonna have the buy-in, which I
The
believe
fight card is awesome. Like
Mhm.
the card, the matches that are gonna happen are awesome, but it's a different world. Like, what are they gonna do? So it's probably gonna be super entertaining, but I mean, everything is different without an audience.
It is. They're
It's
holding it
fucking
in
weird.
Vegas. The big news about that is the TNT Championship, Lance Archer versus Cody. The winner is going to be presented the belt by Iron Mike Tyson. No, nothing for that.
I had something, but I stopped myself. Allow me to present this. I need you guys both to present this. If either one of you turns the wrong way or ignores me, I'm gonna eat your children. I'm gonna knock out your grandma.
And my rapey wife.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too far.
Yeah.
Sorry, Robin. I think it's cool. Tyson's gonna be there. It's he's a huge wrestling fan. It's there's rumor that he's getting back in the boxing shape for maybe an exhibition match, and now I'm hearing that Tyson Holyfield 3 is a possibility.
Yeah, why not?
Fuck it. I mean, it's, whatever.
Tyson looks like he's got his brains about him. When you watch him, I mean, he was an aggressive, angry, scary fucker forever, and a rich guy coming from nothing. And his main boxing promoter ripped him off for years. He went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's a man in his mid-50s. He's a pothead. He just seems like he's at peace.
He's got it together. Yeah,
he lost a kid. He lost a baby. He's had some fucking hardcore tragedy in his life and hardships. And he came out like, I don't know, it might be the pot, but he came out and like the way he talks with clarity. He talks with life experience. He's really like, he's got his own podcast too. And
yeah,
from a dude who gets made fun of all the time for his voice, he's got a thriving and successful podcast. But physically, he looks great. Holyfield looks awesome, but if you've listened to interviews, dude, that dude does not need to get hit in the head anymore, man. I don't know if you've watched any interviews with him. Like, there's not all those brain connections there. Like, the dude should not get hit anymore. Like, it's a payday that he does, but no, dude, he should not be getting hit anymore.
Yeah, he should be making video games.
Yeah.
Evander Holyfield's Real Deal Boxing 2, 30 years later. Box. You ever play that shit on Sega Genesis?
I do. So back when the Tyson Holyfield, when Tyson bit his ear, back then I remember watching that, and I wasn't a fan of either guy. Like, I just thought they were both personalities in a way, especially Tyson. But dude, I was on Tyson's side the whole time.
Oh yeah.
I was watching the matches. Well, everybody was against him because he bit Holyfield's ear off. But I was like, that dude's like, Holyfield kept headbutting him, right? And so I was I think it was 17 or 16 at the time. And I remember watching a pay-per-view and like flipping out. I was like, why is the ref not doing anything? He's headbutting him. And then Tyson took a chunk out of his ear. The match stopped. They interviewed Tyson afterwards and he was flipping out. And he had these like gashes, and it could have been from punches. I didn't know shit about boxing back then. But dude, they looked like they were like half-inch like cracks in his eyebrows.
Oh yeah.
I've
seen the fights.
Oh,
I mean, he was frustrated, No doubt that he was fucking getting headbutted. I mean, I saint it. So I probably would have done the same fucking thing and bite both them fucking ears off.
Oh man.
But they've made up. They've kissed. They made up over the years,
Yeah. I think a lot of those guys that box each other, they do. Well, yeah, in boxing, not in other martial arts.
Not in wrestling.
No, not in wrestling.
We're keeping it kayfabe. I think for all you out there that are wanting to order the pay-per-view, I think you can get it on Fight or your pay-per-view provider. I heard it's a little more expensive than usual. That may or may not be true. I don't know. But you got some good matches. You got, like I said, Cody versus Lance Archer with Tyson being involved, presenting the championship. And who knows, he might get involved a little bit. I think that'd be cool. On the buy-in, you got Private Party versus the Best Friends. You got the World Championship champion Jon Moxley versus Brody Lee. You got the Casino Ladder match, which it's 8 or I think it's 9 participants, and the 9th one they're not going to announce until the actual match takes place. But you got Darby Allin in that. You got Luchasaurus, Kip Sabian. You got Frankie Kazarian, Phoenix, Colt Cabana, Orange Cassidy, and Scorpio Sky. So a lot of those dudes all together in a fucking ladder match.
Should be cool.
That's gonna be fucking insane. And not only that, you got the Stadium Stampede, where it's the Elite versus the Inner Circle, where they basically have the whole fucking football stadium, I guess, to fight each other. I don't know if that's going to be in Jacksonville or because they don't have shit out in Vegas, right? So maybe it'll be a tape fucking deal. I don't know.
Maybe
how that's fucking working out.
However it works, if it's presented right, I don't give a shit.
Yeah. I'm fucking down the clown.
People are going back and forth on whether or not WrestleMania was cool. In a regular setting, no, it was garbage. But in the context of what they were trying to do and put a show out there and not break the tradition of WrestleMania, yeah, it was fun. It was. I was entertained. Shit. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it was week 2 of the quarantine. Like everybody was desperate for something to watch, and they were like, "Fuck, man, somebody's putting out some entertainment, so let's watch this shit and be entertained. Like forget about this shit for 2 nights for 2 hours."
Well, this will be cool. This will be definitely. I'll be watching. It'll be definitely interesting to see. I mean, as far as since this whole thing began, WWE is the only one who's put on actual pay-per-views. Contrary to what the UFC wants you to believe. Sports. Sport. They weren't the first sport to come back.
Yeah.
It's a different product. It'll be a different environment. It's gonna be fucking fun. AEW always brings it, and I think out of like the no crowd shows, and I think Impact's kind of stepping it up now since they've been doing it, especially with the shit with Ethan Page, those goof matches and shit they've been doing. That's pretty funny. AEW, man, sky's the limit with them. We'll see what they bring to the table.
Yeah, in a world
Saturday.
where it's super tough to put on a live show or like a wrestling product, I think they've been, for the most part, doing an awesome job. Like every Wednesday when I do watch it, I'm like, oh, that was fun, and the 2 hours just fly by every week.
Yeah,
and I know we're fanboys of them, but fuck,
it's good. I enjoy it. Something else
I
enjoy that's also sadly ending season 2 this week is Dark Side of the Ring, with the season finale being about Owen Hart and his tragic fall from grace.
Yeah,
I didn't really mean that to be funny. I really didn't. But that's going to be another good one to see. No one's really fucked with that story too much, other than probably shit that's been written in magazines. I'm sure unofficial books and stuff like that. So a lot of this stuff I think is going to come straight from the horse's mouth. People that family members, Owen's wife, and stuff like that. It's going to be definitely cool to see that. And next week when we come back on, we'll talk about that after we watch it.
Yeah, I'm curious about that one only because with all the other stories they've done, there was background stuff that happened. Like there was buildup, there was shady shit that was happening that people didn't know about. This was just a straight up like tragedy accident. Like it was like everybody went on about their regular day, like they did all the other times for all the other years, grinding the wrestling tours, all that stuff, and then probably the worst accident in wrestling history happened on that day to him. And like, how do you make a story out of that? Like, what do you do? Or do you just like highlight the fact that like these guys go and perform sometimes with some crazy feats, and even the easiest spots can lead to tragedy. Maybe that's going to be the point of it.
They can lead to death.
Yeah. So I'm curious too. I don't know how they're going to do it, but
I'm curious like George on that. So everybody tune in the Vice Dark Side of the Ring. I'm going to be fucking itching for season 3 already. Ooh.
They should do a season, like a B-side season where it's all the awful shit that happened in like the 60s.
Yeah, right. Like,
because that's when everybody was an asshole. Everybody was ripping everybody off.
Right?
People were really fighting each other and getting stabbed and shit.
Well, speaking of that, I'm kind of curious what everybody out there watching and listening thinks. So leave your thoughts in the comments below, right down there, about what you think season 3 should consist of. What stories, tales, and tribulations from the professional wrestling world would you like to see in season 3? Let us know. Kind of moving on, or unless you were going to add.
I was just gonna plant the seed of controversy. Hulk Hogan is in my Mount Rushmore. Hulk Hogan.
There you go.
Is right in the center, and he's got the biggest head. Hulk Hogan is my top guy, but I wouldn't mind a dark side of the ring where we actually get to see just how selfish and greedy and how much of a liar he actually is in real life. Just some real fucking, hey, this guy's a hustler, an opportunist, but also he helped people. To me, Hulk Hogan is human. To me, he's just human. So when somebody puts him up on a pedestal and then also says like shit like how he was a dick, the dude to me is human. One of the most successful wrestlers, if not the most successful wrestler ever, given certain, criteria. But like as many people as shit on him, that many people say I wouldn't have never had a career if it wasn't for him. He helped me out. He helped me this. He helped me that. So shit, man, that. But I wouldn't mind seeing one where they, toss a little legit dirt, not what's it called? Cornet dirt.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that would be a killer episode.
Also, Jim Cornette, doors always open to the show, but also fuck you.
Ooh, that wasn't nice, right? We came to play nice today. Got some fucking Retromania news. So they rounded out their launch roster with a couple of guys you may know. Recently released from WWE, you got Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, a.k.a. Brian Myers, and Matt Cardona, if I said that right. Cardona. I wasn't very familiar with Zack Ryder's real name because I never really gave too much of a shit about him. But it's very cool that they're in this game. I know those dudes, they got their own wrestling figure podcast and show on YouTube, and they go, dude, they're like obsessed with all this old school retro wrestling toys and just wrestling toys in general. Like those dudes spend shit ton of money on action figures and toys. Must be nice. You guys start fucking throwing us some money so I could do some ridiculous shit like that. I'll buy a bunch of toys and rub it in your face. But yeah, it's cool that they've been added into the game. So now they have a full launch roster. Pre-orders are up for it. PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. It's going to be coming out. So hopefully we can get Mike back on the show soon before it launches. We've been in talks. Just got to get the right time, And speaking of video games, I'm a huge fucking Mortal Kombat guy.
Yeah, you
so are. Oh, fuck yeah. Fight. They announced Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath, which is super cool because if you guys out there listening haven't played Mortal Kombat 11 yet, this will make it the ultimate Mortal Kombat game like ever released. They're bringing back stage fatalities. They're bringing back some classic stages like the pit stage, the acid pit stage. They're bringing back friendship. And some of them are so fucking awesome, dude. Not only that, you're going to get 3 DLC characters and an expansion on the story mode, which is a first for them. And you don't really see that in fighting games, story mode DLC. So I'm pretty pumped to see how that plays out. And out of the 3 guest characters, you get a returning Fujin, who was the brother of fucking Raiden. And we haven't seen him since, shit, man. I want to say it was like Mortal Kombat 4 is when he came in. And I think Deadly Alliance might have been the last game he was in, or Armageddon. It was probably Armageddon. You get Shiva, who is essentially Lady Goro, and then my fucking favorite, RoboCop, dude. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. And it's Peter Weller doing his fucking voice.
Yeah?
Yeah, dude. And his shit looks awesome. I've seen some of his brutalities and fatalities. Oh my God. There's a lot of treats in there for fans of that franchise, dude. And it's so cool because in Mortal Kombat XL, they had Alien and Predator in the game, along with like Jason and Leatherface, which is always awesome. Now in this one, you have RoboCop and Terminator. So it's like some cool like 90s, dream crossovers and comic franchises that they throw in the game, man. And I love how they listen to the fan base, and they're fans of that shit themselves. Like when you think about it, maybe for people who aren't familiar with the RoboCop character and that all they think about is like that shitty fucking reboot that they did, I'm sorry, I never watched it, but I'm still gonna call it shit because look at him.
It was
Ro-
barely okay.
I can't do it. I just can't do it. So sorry about your damn luck. RoboCop was extremely violent. The original first couple RoboCop movies, really all of them, but extremely violent, vulgar. I think it fits perfect in the Mortal Kombat universe, and like some of the fatalities I've seen and shit, and it's fucking badass, dude. Like, so good on you guys. Thank you, NetherRealm. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was one of those like shockingly violent movies because that was before I started watching weird low budget horror, and like RoboCop was one of the first ones you watch and you're like, fuck, every part of this is. They didn't do bullet holes like just a little hole with like a red spot. They did the cloth ripping, like half of your shirt gets ripped when a bullet like explodes out of your chest, dude. They used to shred clothing from bullet wounds. And then there's when the toxic. I remember I watched it when I was a kid on VHS when there was that scene where the dude like just got covered in the toxic sludge.
Yeah.
And he was like melting, and he's like, "Help me!" You're like, "Fuck."
Right.
Yeah,
She'll
but
fuck you up.
Yeah. So yeah, Paul Verhoeven, he made that one. He went from that to making Showgirls, I think.
Oh, I'm erect. Why aren't you erect? I was just talking about that the other day. Show me your tits.
Show me your tits.
I'm erect. Why aren't you erect? What a fucking movie. How do you go from Saved by the Bell to fucking Showgirls? I'll tell you how. Very easily.
I mean, it's a bad movie. She was good looking in it. She's a good looking girl. Good looking.
One more thought here before we kind of wind it down. I was wondering this today that, they announced all these people for the WWE Hall of Fame. And I know with all this shit going down, they never really had they couldn't do anything necessarily. Maybe because some of these cats are older. They don't want to risk some shit and they might have been in quarantine. But I was kind of thinking it's kind of a shame that it's just nothing's happened with it. Like think outside the box, put something together like a show.
Yeah.
Like you did with the fucking Boneyard match and all that shit in honor of these men and women that were supposed to go in, like Davey Boy Smith, you had the NWO, maybe not JBL. I don't fucking care about him, but it's kind of like, what the fuck happened with the Hall of Fame? It's just like, all right, we said their names and that's it. Like it's usually a big spectacle, man.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been a great opportunity to just like Dark Side of the Ring and these other documentaries to actually do like, you got a whole team of like people that know how to put together like product packages, like videos and stuff. Why not do like all the Hall of Famers? Why not do like a 20-minute thing on YouTube or the network on each one of those guys?
Exactly. And like what we're doing right now, get their asses on Zoom or something if, they're in fucking quarantine and have them, do their fucking acceptance speech or what have you.
Shit, man, American Idol, I don't watch it, but I know that they sent out, because this was happening during the middle of the show, and they still needed the performers and the contestants to perform and contest. They sent them like the whole recording gear, like all the mics, all the ring lighting and all that shit, and then they showed them how to set it up, but they could have done that with these guys too, to get some badass mics in there and some awesome high-def cameras and just get on Zoom and be like, hey, Hall of Fame, let's do interview with each one of these people. But I mean, I don't know, who knows what they got in the works. I'm shocked with some of these promotions, and I get a lot of them can't do it, but with some of these, like especially WWE, maybe we poop on them too much, but this is a perfect time to think outside the box. Like you're wrestling, you can be far-fetched, you can get crazy. Like you could have done some like nutty stuff right now, especially like Fiend type of stuff, like whole things would just get crazy. But I also think everybody keeps thinking like, how do we plan like 4 weeks ahead? Do everything like, how do we do a 4-week run on something? And they just decided we better not do it because the world might open back up in a month. And then in a month they're like, well, it might open up in a month. And then in a month they're like, let's maybe it'll open in a month. So it's like this thing like, should have done it 3 months ago, dude. Yeah, you could have done
right?
You could have done some cool shit last month. Just been like, fuck it, we got 30 days to do some crazy shit, and if it doesn't work, we'll just ignore it like that guy who was like Sub-Zero gimmick. No offense, because I would love to have him as a guest.
Glacier.
Yeah, Glacier, but
Yeah.
you know, there's always been some gimmicks that didn't work. So do a couple storylines that don't work. It doesn't have to be fucking gold. Give it a try. Throw some fucking spaghetti at a wall. See what sticks.
That's right. Speaking of sticking, y'all should stick your eyes and ears to my buddy Sean. Putrid Pile has a new album out called Revel in Lunacy. It's available on Bandcamp. I believe it's going to be on iTunes if it's not already. I bought it on Bandcamp, so yeah. You could also check it out. It's being released through Severed Records. So if you want to hit Severed Records up on their Bandcamp or their website, I think it's like Severed Store or store.severedrecords.com. Just fucking Google it, guys. Check it out. You guys are into the heavy shit like the Juice. He's a one-man fucking brutal-ass death metal machine. He's been doing this shit for a long time. He's world-traveled. So those of you out there listening that are into this and that know what I'm fucking talking about, you're already in the know. Those that don't, check it out because it's Sean's fucking good, dude. He's good people. He's up there with Bodie in Racine, Wisconsin. What's up, Bodie? Getting obscene in Racine. Everybody check that out. It's some new music, some new brutal shit. We're going to be coming at you next week with another new episode of fucking awesome, creative. Well, maybe not that creative, but we'll be fucking entertaining for you. None the fucking less. You can check out my sweet background, Sreten's sweet background with the big horse cock behind his head. Oh.
Horse cock.
Gotta love it. Thank you, everybody, for fucking subscribing and interacting with us. Thank you to Andre Corbiel for coming on last week. We had a lot of fun with him. Looking forward to doing more stuff with him and all of our future guests. So you guys, please share with your fucking friends. We're on every podcast platform, whether you go in iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, any of that shit. Find us there, Juice Pro Wrestling. And not only that, we have the JP Dub podcast where we interview people in entertainment outside of pro wrestling. You know, whether it be actors, musicians, fucking artists, whatever. We're going to be fucking talking to them and bringing them to you, their stories to you because you like that. And, you know, we're nice like that.
Danny Trejo, happy birthday. Door's always open. Come do an interview on the JP Dub.
Yeah, let's get fucking ugly and carve up some shit with machetes.
Machete in space.
My mother gave me this machete. I remember Nacho Libre. He's like, this was my mom's lucky machete or some shit like that. But yeah, seriously, thank you guys so much. Me and Sreten really appreciate all your guys' support and spreading the word. You know, jpdub.com is where it's at. It's been fucking blowing up, and I can't say thank you enough. Until next time, wet 'em up, wet 'em up, wet 'em up, wet 'em up. Oh my God, I was going to yell, but guess what? I'm not going to fucking do it. Oh, wait, I lied. Oh my God, I'm so wet. For threatening the JP Dub and the JP Woo. I want you to check us out every fucking week, because if you don't, I'm going to find you, and I'm going to tickle you.
You gonna do sex to me?